Hi, everyone. Welcome into My Chamber TV. We're the heartbeat of the Tampa Bay community. I'm one of your hosts, Barbara Marvell Kelly, and my other host happens to be Mr. Paul Friedlander. Welcome back again.
Always a pleasure to be here, beginning of the month. Huh?
I know it's always. We're coming right out of the gate with the Greater Pasco. It's exciting.
Yes, Greater Pasco Chamber of Commerce, excited to be here and excited for all this warm weather we're enjoying.
Oh, I love this weather. I absolutely.
You and me.
I'm like alive. Well, I'll tell you what. Speaking about being alive, it's always good to be alive and healthy. So I'm really excited to have Dr. Fridley back again to talk about bariatric surgery, and not just the surgery, but behind the scenes and what can lead up to that. And what I just found out first thing this morning is that it's so disturbing to know that it's hitting our teenagers as young as 13. Why is that?
Well, thank you for having me. But yes, we're seeing it in the adolescent population in all over the country, and it's just goes to our culture of what we're doing. We're being more sedentary, but then also more high-stress environment that we're working, and not paying attention to the fundamentals of eating healthy, eating right, proper eating behavior, but then also stress management, like we were talking about earlier. And kids are seeing the effects of this stress earlier and earlier in their lifetimes, and that's causing a problem downstream. But then they're building the weight and the poor habits now early on, and that's what we're seeing now. It's leading to early heart disease with these kids, and with all these comorbidities that they have, they're actually being discussed with doing adolescent bariatric surgery for them.
Really? And, go ahead.
Go ahead.
And of course now the other side effect, which you wanted, since this is, what is this? This is Heart
Month. Yep.
Heart Month, yes, it's Heart Month, and I can speak for the fact that since we've seen each other, I don't remember when it was the last time, but since June of last year, I've lost 57 pounds. So blood work in May, my risk factor was 5.03. Blood work in December, my risk factor was 2.16.
Absolutely. Weight is, the relationship between weight and heart disease and risk factors is huge, and no pun intended there. We definitely want to control those risk factors. And this being Heart Month, we definitely want to get the notice out to the populations is that they need to start engaging in more physical activity, paying more attention to their health, and not just with what they're eating, but also mental health and everything. So get rid of the stress in their lives, or find ways to cope with that stress on a daily or even twice a day basis sometimes, depending on what they're dealing with. But that's the key, is to make sure that they're treating themselves well.
Yeah, that's a lot. Managing stress, especially with even what the parents and what we adults have been experiencing for this last year. And congratulations, my friend, on that weight loss. You look, and I bet you feel wonderful now.
You do feel better, that's for sure.
Yes, that's what I definitely hearing. Unfortunately, with COVID and the whole year of 2020, and most people have kind of gone the other way. But I really implore everyone this year to kind of try and get back to the roots of getting healthier for themselves.
And when you work with this, because of the results in terms of, especially as we'll get into more detail here about heart disease and what the concerns are with that, obviously heart disease, the concerns right there. But how do you start when you're working, especially with kids, well, even with adults, how do you start breaking those habits?
I think the first start is to actually, I always call it the mirror days, is you can't really make any change until you know where you are right now. So at first it needs to be put a big mirror in front of yourself and see what exactly are you doing and why are you doing it. And the biggest question is why? Why? So if you're not active, why are you not active? If you're not eating right, why are you not eating right? And getting yourself to answer those questions, so then you can hold yourself accountable for those actions.
That is such a very, very good point. Do you find that a lot of these why answers are kind of pointing down into that, I hate to say it, but that dark dungeon of depression?
There's a lot of association with it, yes. And that's sometimes the key, is when we're trying to talk with them to make sure that they're making the right decisions. But when they do answer that why, they find that it sort of funnels down to the root cause, and sometimes that is an underlying depression that is not managed, or an underlying traumatic event that they're just brushing back and have never had closure with. And so through our program, we definitely, incorporate psychologists and psychiatrists in to kind of tease those out so that they can heal themselves on multiple levels, not just doing a surgery to say, hey, you're going to lose weight, congratulations, have a nice day. It's
right.
just like, no, we want you to basically get better at all facets of your life and basically grow from that.
Well, those are lifestyle changes that are going to stay with them, and especially if we're talking, it doesn't even matter if it's the young kids, but that's really where it starts. And self-image is so important when it comes time to look for a job, and their self-image from head to toe. So I remember that succinctly when you were talking about how it's not just come in for surgery and, lose a few pounds here and have a nice day. It was all the psychological behind it.
Right.
So Dr. Fridley, as a surgeon, what are your most concerning aspects of heart disease? I want to go through these questions that we have for you.
The heart disease to me is scary because I think it's, the quote-unquote silent killer, because it is brewing for years, and like we're seeing it with the adolescent population, it's growing and growing and growing, and too often we're not paying attention to it. So now we know that heart disease is starting as early as in the 20s and 40s. Before we were thinking, oh, that's a 50s, 60s. Now it's earlier that we're dealing with this problem, and it's mainly because we're healthy. We don't realize that our blood pressure is up that high, or we don't realize that constant headache is not just because, I didn't get enough caffeine today, or I haven't drank enough water, but it's because my blood pressure is high and I'm not getting treatment for it. So it's early identifications of those and incorporation of your primary care. Like, those are the keys to really kind of curb this early, and that I think is the scariest aspect, is because we're so against going to see the doctor, but it's to our own demise that sometimes.
It's true. Even for a yearly checkup.
Correct.
How things you can discover. We were talking just before the show on COVID-19 and how that has, I did not know about how that has an effect on the heart.
Yes, so we know the lungs, and it's quite scary. You can have someone who's asymptomatic, but their lungs are, filled with these infiltrates on both lungs, and you just look at the patient at the image and you're just like, wow, how can that be? You're sitting here talking to me so well, and that's your lungs. But the heart is kind of left out of the picture, and we have two thought processes now, mainly being the lining of the heart or the heart muscle itself getting the inflammation. And that inflammation causes scar tissue. It causes any inflammation anywhere, arthritis, you name it. It's causing a layer of thickening to prevent that from that inflammation. But imagine someone who's in their 20s or 30s who now has inflammation on their heart. What is that going to do for them long term? So the myositis that we're seeing, or pericarditis that we're seeing from fluid around the heart from the inflammation, it is putting strain on the heart at earlier and more intense than they would without COVID. So that's the key. So we don't know enough about it to really dive into the details yet, but it will be interesting to see in the next 5 to 10 years how that heart is dealt with the inflammation.
Because we don't know.
Correct.
We just don't know.
You mentioned earlier, you're usually physical, working with your primary, things like that. But what are some of the other, so what I'm looking for, some of the other things that patients can do to manage their heart health?
So back to, see your primary. You could do home blood pressure checks. A lot of people don't want to go to the doctor, but you can just, Publix has them, pharmacies have them. You can just put your arm in and test them, but you can just purchase your own and have it at home and just keep track of that. Is a quick, easy way of doing it to see if you have any underlying disease brewing up. Other things is control your weight. Of course, I'm biased with that with being a bariatric surgeon, but generally controlling your weight and getting it back to a BMI of less than 30, you're going to reduce a significant portion of those risk factors, and that goes along with healthy eating and physical activity. And like we were talking about before the show is, kind of stress management and spiritual management at that too.
Oh, thank you for
because,
that. Absolutely.
If you don't have, and we're seeing now that we're getting a lot more problems because of COVID. People felt really isolated, but by using platforms like Zoom and WebEx and Facebook or FaceTime and stuff like that, they've regained that community sense, and they're able to kind of lose not the depression but the stress of the I don't want to say quarantine, because not everyone's on quarantine, but
Right.
that stress that builds up if you don't have friends, coworkers, and a support group.
Yeah.
You can't deal with it on your own, and nor should you try.
Well, my husband and I just started personal growth and development with reducing stress with his company just 3 weeks ago. Every Wednesday, it's weekly Wednesday. Anybody's welcome, and we teach them how to manage that stress.
And the same thing here with our support groups of the bariatric programs. We open it to everyone, whether you're a bariatric patient of mine, or you've had it 15 years ago, or whatever, or you're in the process. We want them to feel like, look, you're not dealing with anything alone, and you need to have people who have been there, done that, and can give you some guidance, or even just someone to go walking with.
Sure, exactly. Gosh, we covered a lot the last time, but I'm glad that you brought these specific questions in, because some of them, I had no idea. Crash diets. Now, we all know that that's probably, it might work, when you're 19, right? And you want to get into your jeans, right?
Jeans. Get into the skinny jeans, yeah.
But how dangerous is that?
I wouldn't use dangerous because it's done so much.
Yeah, I know.
But it does have its effects. So rapid weight loss through any means does have detrimental effects. And we know about that through, of course, weight loss surgery, because you're doing the same things. But a lot of times what we see is gallbladder disease. So gallstones can form from rapid weight loss is one of the things. Additionally, with rapid weight loss, we're also seeing arrhythmias increase. This goes back to Heart Month, and keeping that aware is when you lose fat rapidly, there is fat that's in the muscles all throughout the body, and the heart is just a big muscle. It's a pump with muscle. So the heart remodeling, it has muscles and fat, but it also has the nerves who do all the conducting for the squeezing of the muscle. And if you start remodeling that muscle by taking the fat out of it, then it could trigger those nerves to fire a little differently, causing an arrhythmia. So crash dieting can also throw, arrhythmias. It also throws off electrolyte balances and stuff like that, depending on what you're doing or what you're taking. So it's definitely not advisable to do a crash diet. There are program diets out there that are very, they are very regimented. They make sure you're getting the wealth of vitamins and nutrients that you need, but within the confines of number of calories.
Yeah, when I went on the diet, I told Pam, I said, I'm not doing keto, I'm not doing paleo, I'm not eating 800 pounds of cheese or 600 pounds of bacon a month. But what it was it's a thing called New Life. But it was 3 meals a day and a snack, so you were using good proteins with good carbs.
Correct.
And actually, my weight loss was fairly quick, but it wasn't from not eating, and it wasn't from not eating,
it was healthy.
Just eating healthy.
Just eating healthy.
And portion control.
Portion control is absolutely key.
And we got to wrap.
Gosh,
I know.
I can't believe it.
Always.
I know. You guys got so much good stuff. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. This is a whole show in itself. Really, you need to come back and have your own show and educate people. But I want to thank you so much for joining us. This has been so educational. Thank you, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you. We'll be right back.
Appreciate you. Welcome back to My Chamber TV. This week we are celebrating, as we do once a month, the Greater Pasco Chamber of Commerce. I'm Paul Friedlander, the co-host to my wonderful host over here, Ms. Barbara Marville Kelly. And this is going to be they're all good. This is going to be a really fun segment. We have Clarissa and Dwayne here with us from the Boy Scouts of America to share what's going on in their world.
How fun is this?
Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having me.
Is this the first we've ever had
I believe
the Boy Scouts of America?
It is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Good,
so
good.
welcome.
Thank
Let's
you.
hear what's
Thank you.
happening today. I did raise a Boy Scout, one.
Oh,
Yeah.
did he make it all the way to Eagle?
I think he did.
All
I think he
right.
did. It's a long time ago.
Well, we're still in the business of recruiting youth and helping them go all the way to Eagle and learn all of the values that come along with that.
And the kids need that today. don't
Absolutely.
they?
Yes, absolutely. Now
Absolutely.
more than ever, and especially with our adults and volunteers, the program is really set up for everyone.
Oh,
and
good.
there's a place for everyone there, too.
Yeah, we cover 9 counties in the greater Tampa Bay area. I'll try to remember them all. The 3 Ps, Pasco, Polk, and Pinellas. The 4 H's, Hillsborough, Hardy, Highlands, and Hernando. And then Citrus and Sumter.
Very good. That's
yeah.
a good play.
That's a good way to remember 'em.
That's a lot of coverage, too.
Yeah,
Yes.
And
absolutely.
how long have you guys been involved with the Boy Scouts?
I've been involved since September 2019.
Okay.
I have no past association with the Boy Scouts of America. My brother was in the program for maybe about a year as a Cub Scout, and that was it. But he went into the military, and he always remembers the Boy Scouts fondly.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
How did you end up becoming part of the Boy Scouts? What brought you that direction?
A fellow coworker, actually. And
Okay.
so I'm originally from Deep South Texas, and I, applied. I felt that the Boy Scout always had such a great moral and ethnic code to it.
Right.
It was such a stand-up area to be in, and I wanted to be a part of the journey. I wanted to be a part of the program to show everyone how it literally is made for everyone. And now that females are able to join as well, there is literally a place for everybody.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yourself, young man?
For myself, I have been with the organization for about 18 years.
Oh, my goodness.
I started in South Rural Louisiana, and I have been a part of the organization in 4 different councils: Lafayette, Louisiana, Houston, Texas, Cleveland, Ohio, and now here in the Tampa Bay area.
Cleveland, my old stomping grounds growing up. I grew up in Akron. So,
Is that right?
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
so
very
I know
good.
that well. So that's awesome. And then, were you a Boy Scout yourself? Is that
Unfortunately, I never had the chance, Paul.
Really?
I never had the chance to be a part of the Scouts, which is part of why I'm so passionate about it now. As Clarissa said, there's something in it for everyone, and I look forward to the opportunity to give other kids the chances that I didn't have.
And how things been going? What have you had to change based on what's happened over the last year? How have you guys adapted?
I'll take that one. We've had to go to a virtual setup in a lot of areas, but I will say that we're excited that we're starting to bring youth back online, and they're starting to meet. We're obviously doing all the social distancing measures and the COVID mitigation measures, but we had to sort of pivot to a more virtual setup where folks could do the scouting activities and not have to necessarily worry about being too close to anyone.
Well, I would think the positive side too is a lot of what you do is outside anyways with Scouts.
Absolutely.
And
It
especially
is.
now again with this warm weather, it's really nice to be outside, right?
Yes.
And I'm also thinking that what you're teaching with values and just understanding the world, so to speak, in a sense, would probably contribute to them dealing maybe a little bit more effectively with all that's been going on in this last year than some of the kids that maybe haven't been exposed to that for whatever reason.
The term and the motto that we use, "Be prepared," has never been more in focus. Let's put it that way.
Bingo! Isn't that the truth? So give us a couple of things that the Scouts are prepared for something like this that we've never had, ever.
Sure. I would say that right now we're in the process of our Scouting for Food drive, and so we have scouts throughout our area that are collecting canned goods and so forth to fill our food pantries in this time. We have gone virtual in order to be able to help families have a place to go and still have a sense of normalcy with scouting, and so those are some of the areas where we feel like we're making the most good happen.
That's
Nice.
fabulous.
And how can somebody that's listening to this show become involved? with the food drives and the things that you guys are doing?
They can go to our website, which is tampabayscouting.org. We have all of our information there. The food drive, you can get involved with a local unit. You can also go to beascout.org and type in your zip code, and that'll tell you where there's packs or troops that are in the area where you can get involved and have an opportunity to scout.
And Clarissa, refresh my memory from Cub Scout to Boy Scout, that's defined by age, is it not?
It is defined by age and also at times by schools. Like elementary would be geared to more the younger, while middle school, high school is more geared to the older youth.
And and again, I know you just mentioned two of the websites, but how do parents get their children involved? What's the best way to do that?
Typically, pre-pandemic, we would go through our school system and we would recruit youth through our schools. But right now, we've been using a variety of different methods. Our websites are really the driving force behind that. So again, tampabayscouting.org. That's tampabayscouting.org, or beascout.org is the best way for you to go and find a pack or troop near you.
What are you doing social media-wise? What are you guys doing, since you don't have that outlet of the schools so much right now? Hopefully that's starting to come back for you, but what have you had to adjust in that from your side of the business?
Well, it's a lot of the same aspects that have forced us to be even more creative,
right,
because of the pandemic. So a lot of the times we do have our own Facebook page also. Now, we serve counties, but in those counties they're divided up by districts. So Pasco County is also known as the Suncoast District. So we also have our individual Facebook page that we do also update from there. And then we're also trying to promote our brand awareness. So we are trying to be the face out there. We are in several publications of newspapers.
Okay.
So there's many avenues in order to receive us, as well as we're open to receiving others.
Right.
I guess, has the volunteer side of it also been a challenge for you with everything going on in terms of the adults and the parents and things like that?
Yeah, we're always looking for good volunteers that are compassionate and dedicated to helping youth be better and enriching their lives. And obviously, when we don't have the full access to youth, it presents a challenge for us to have access to their families as well.
Right.
Sure.
And so anyone out there in the sound of my voice, if they want to get involved, again, they can go to our website. We'll be happy to visit with them and talk with them about how they can do more.
Awesome.
This is great for people that are just like pulling their hair out. What do they want to do, and to be able, to get involved with you guys? I think this is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you. We've been doing these shows now, Paulie, for almost 8 years.
Going on 7.5 years.
This is our first time to have someone like yourself to represent the Boy Scouts, so that's very cool.
We appreciate it, yeah.
So what else can you share with us as far as some of the activities now, what you're doing? Anything else that we could probably have you here all day and talk about it.
And we'd love to talk about it all day, for sure. We've got 6 camps in our area, 5 of which are very high traffic camps. And at camp, youth can go and do every activity from shooting bows and arrows and archery and things of that nature. They can get out and reconnect with the outdoors and just have a great day outside with their families, play a little kickball, do some of those things. So we've got a lot of activities, not only at our camps, but in the community where youth and their families can sort of just get back in touch with nature.
Dwayne, was it Camp Sewell that's down in Pinellas?
It is.
Still there?
It is, yes. Very much still in use, and Camp Sewell is one of our favorite camps in the area.
Yeah, it's a nice camp. Yeah, I remember those days.
That is so good. I had a question that just kind of slipped my mind because I just get carried away to hear what's going on. I know what it was. The percentage of those senior moments, I beat you to it. So what is
It's another day.
the percentage of the participants? Do you have a high percentage that goes all the way to Eagle?
The response to that is right now I think it's about 3 to 4% of our youth nationwide. So I can't give you the local figure because I don't know if we have that available to us. But nationwide, there's about 3 to 4% of youth that come into our program that go all the way to Eagle Scout. So so it's a prestigious group.
Oh yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah.
What keeps them there? That's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a long time and a serious commitment.
Sure.
I think a lot of it is driven from passion. It's a passion to start, to motivate, to participate, and what the youth learn, the skill sets and the positive role models, when they grow up, they in turn come back, re-enter the program as volunteers. No,
I knew you were going to say that. And that is, we talk about that all the time with the kids are involved with so many different community groups, and then they find themselves, needing this, and they do. I mean, Angel Cook is the perfect example.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, really, so that's why I wanted to know that. That's good.
Yeah, and a lot of the volunteers that we have, whether there are males that didn't complete the program or reached Eagle status, they've come back because they've enjoyed the program so much.
Isn't that wonderful? And they probably enjoy, too, to give back and feel like
they do
a sense of community. I mean, in Pasco, well, I raised both my boys in Pasco, and they really do have a heartbeat for the community and for others and giving back.
And it's really the ripple effect. It just takes that one, and, and the constant spreading, the determination, and and it goes back to that passion that they want to keep it going.
Yeah, so how long have you been a member of the chamber?
Oh, very recently, actually, as of January, I would say. Yeah.
They were members, I believe, previously, and then once there were some changes at Dwayne's level and things like that. So so we're glad to have you back. We had some good programs we were able to put together when you guys were members before. So hopefully, as we get back to some quote unquote new normal, whatever they want to call it, we'll be able to interact that way with y'all too. And Dwayne, and I don't mean to keep picking on you, but you've had 18 years experience. A quick question for you.
Sure.
Do you have the Eagle Scout part of it? Are a lot of them second generation?
I think we would say that a lot of them are second and third generation.
Okay, I was wondering.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the point
once
where
their dads or grandfathers or what. Okay,
absolutely.
I was wondering about that. That's why I wanted to ask.
There's definitely a legacy there, and I think the families take it to heart that they get to see multiple generations of their young men and now young ladies go on to be Eagle Scouts. So
that's exciting. Do we have a district over near Wesley Chapel? Like my 7-year-old grandson.
There you go.
That is still in Clarissa's territory. That's Suncoast District.
That is
Wesley Chapel.
Suncoast. Yes.
He just enrolled in martial arts school, and now we'll just add that.
Yeah, we'll
go.
just
And
keep
the
them
Suncoast
busy.
District is the 14 counties you mentioned, or how?
The Suncoast District is Pasco County
Pasco
alone.
County.
Pasco alone. Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Yes.
So that's ours.
But we serve 8 other counties in addition to Pasco.
Okay.
I'm so thrilled to hear that it's so widespread.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes.
Our country needs this more than ever.
Yeah.
More than ever.
Yeah, we're
So thank
privileged to be a part of it. And so Barbara, Paul, thank you guys for having us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us on the show.
Websites again, if you would.
Tampa
please.
Bay, TampaBayScouting.org and beascout.org, and type in your zip code is where you can find the nearest scout unit near you.
And I have a question for you. For the non-technical people, is there a number they can pick up the phone and call and talk to you guys?
Sure, you can call us at 813-872-2691.
Hey,
Very good.
guys, thanks so much for
Here
being
you go.
on.
Thank you
We'll
so
be right
much.
back with another awesome segment of My Chamber TV.
And the motto
Greater
is,
Pasco Chamber,
be prepared.
There you go.
We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back into My Chamber TV. We're the heartbeat of the Tampa Bay community. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly. Thanks for joining us. And with me is my sidekick, Mr. Paul Friedlander.
And always a pleasure to be here and be your sidekick.
I know. We have a lot of fun, almost going on 7, 8 years. I lose track because we do have a lot of fun. You know, we have another great guest and her husband as well that came on, Debi Shackowsky and Johnny Shackowsky. Talk to us about Marjorie's Hope. I can't wait to hear about this.
let's have it, girl. You got
Well,
all kinds of exciting stuff going on.
I do. We do. So I love talking about Marjorie's Hope. So our, you see, we were Marjorie's Hope is in memory of my sister Marjorie, who passed away. She was killed by a drunk driver.
Oh.
Rather than memorialize her passing, we chose to celebrate the life that she loved to live and carried forward the work that she started when she was alive.
Really?
And so I think she'd be pretty proud of where we've moved it forward. So she was always in the back of a classroom helping a teacher with maybe a child struggling to learn how to read, or grading papers, or on the back of a bus on a field trip. But she was there. And then she was always helping kids, teens in need, but kids of all ages, always helping and supporting them. So that's where we started from, and we started with filling backpacks, one of the first in the area years ago when nobody was doing them. Now everybody is, and it's a good thing because there's so many in need that you need more than just one organization.
Now you've come a long way, because I remember many years ago sitting in a board meeting at Trinity Rotary and having gotten a letter from Backpacks for Kids, and we're sitting there talking, and goes, well, who's Debi Shackowsky? And we don't. So I said, okay, well, it sounds like a good program, but we always start out with $250. But you've come a long way since we put that $250. How long have you had this program?
So probably about 14, 15 years.
Yeah. Wow.
It started as 35 backpacks, okay, with 2 nursing friends, because I'm a retired nurse, in my living room with a bottle of wine. We should have drank more wine.
Yeah.
Because has now transpired to 3,500 backpacks, 300 volunteers, in a double-sized gymnasium.
Yep.
Oh, fabulous.
And we're now at a $100,000 a day.
Yeah.
So out the door. So
It's
yeah,
exciting.
It's awesome. And,
Yeah.
Oh, my
and unfortunately,
goodness.
this year was a little different. But last
Yeah.
year, Lisa and I, as representing King Pithla and Queen Chasco, went out. And I got to tell you, talk about a fine-tuned system. We were actually, it was supposed to be 3 hours. I think we were done, our session, I think, was done in an hour and a half. And that's 3,500 backpacks getting
Oh,
filled.
my
That's
goodness.
how down to a science she has it.
And so how many volunteers would you have for this event?
300.
300.
Yeah,
Oh,
300.
Bada bing, bada boom, you're
Yeah,
done.
it is. There's 3 shifts.
Yep.
And and they're very methodical. I think that's probably from the nursing in me, and organization is 90% of your presentation.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
Yeah, so bing, 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 bing. So, but it well-oiled machine is well stated. So that's where we were at. COVID kind of changed everything. So anything that I made reference is, except for the new program, is all pre-COVID type deal. So we are known as backpacks, and we also have a kids closet. Oftentimes the same type families that receive our backpacks receive our children's clothing. Everything has to be referred by school administrator and or a co-partnering agency to come in to shop for free. One of the things, now we've given out almost a little over 18,000 backpacks year to date. We've had 1 local news story feature, but yet we opened this teacher's boutique, and we've had 4 local news stories because we were told by 2 news reporters we're the first of its kind in the United States. And so that we open up where it's gently used or new clothing that's been donated in the community with accessories, purses, shoes, jewelry, and that sort, where our educators can come shop free of charge throughout the school year. It is crazy popular and well used.
And you're now, because I remember being out there when you had the little makeshift one over at off of, was it Charles Street back there, or when they had the reporter come out that day, and you had the.
It's off State Road 54 Professional Plaza.
Okay.
Yeah, right in there. So
that's where it is now.
That's where it is now.
But I remember when you had that. Remember when we were in that little office plaza where the school was, and you had those 2 rooms open?
Yes.
That was what, a year? I guess time goes so fast. But I remember when you just started with that little area, and I remember the teachers coming into that.
So right, and then we had what we started out as 1 unit as a one-time event has now grown to 3 units 3 years later.
That is so fabulous.
Yeah, everything's donated to us. Our donor wishes to remain anonymous, but very, very kind to us, and we're very appreciative. So we also do a $2,000 annual scholarship. Dr. Joseph Steineger's Family Foundation has gifted us $50,000, so we have a recurring $2,000 every year to a graduating senior in Pasco County. And then our newest program that we're most excited about, so despite pandemic, we've still been blessed to growing, and so we're opening the first of its kind in Pasco County, teacher store, where teachers can come shop free of charge throughout the school year for their classroom and student needs. And so we've been in the midst now of filling that. A local social media organization, The Hub, did a fundraising event in October called Huboween, and we were the recipients of $10,000. Yeah,
wow.
So yeah, it was, I think,
nice.
an experiment in progress till they created their own charities. But if we could be everybody's experiment once a year, we'd be thrilled.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in. Count us in. So, and it was a great family fun event this community truly needed at that time. So, so with that, that's how we're starting up the teacher store, and we've got the shelving and all of that. You have teachers helping us coordinate it with the flow and that sort. So, school district of Pasco County has just been amazing. They donated with Dr. Chris Dunning at Wendell Crenn Principal 3 oversized classrooms. So we have the school store, we have storage, and we have room to grow. So yeah, so we're pretty excited about all of
Dr.
that.
Dunning was on the show last month.
Yes.
Was
yes.
he?
Yeah, he was.
He's a great guy.
He's a good friend.
He's
Yeah,
a great guy. Unlike my husband, anything I ask for, he says yes.
Is that true there, Johnny?
Oh, absolutely.
It is.
We mic'd him up. So do you get any attention at home in between the backpacks and the teachers' closets and stuff?
Very little.
Because he does everything behind the scenes.
I'm sure he
He's
does.
all
I
my
bet.
extremities.
Ah.
Sure
he does everything.
Oh, see, quiet but very, very helpful.
Yeah, watch them quiet ones.
I watch the quiet ones, exactly. So what do you think of all this?
Well, actually, now that we have a place to store the material, I'm all on board with
You
it.
got your living room and your family room back? And
Oh,
watch
absolutely.
TV back?
Oh, my
Absolutely.
goodness. Oh, that's great.
Yeah, the interior of the house was filled with boxes. The garage was filled. The sunroom was filled, and friends of ours, their rooms were filled.
Oh my goodness, I love it. I love
So-
it. See, when you've got the passion to give back and make a difference in the community, what's a few boxes? Right?
What's the loss of a room? What the heck?
I love it. Look here. This is such a great story. It really is. And I've heard of Marjorie's Hope throughout the community here and there, and I think this is really wonderful. On your card, it also talks about providing victims rescued from human trafficking.
One of my favorites. So we've had case managers reach out, and we allow for them in the boutique to come shop privately. So I just simply go open the doors, and then because of our units are connecting, I'll usually go to another unit and let the case manager shop with her client, and they can just take whatever they want. And so there have been those who have been rescued from human trafficking. It's been a lot, mostly teenagers, but it doesn't matter. We have the teen closet, we have the adults, so whatever they want, there's no limits.
I love it.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to donate either to the supplies that the teachers can come pick up or the clothing that you just mentioned, what's the best way for them to do that?
So we communicate everything through our Facebook page. It seems to be the most effective for us.
Okay.
So it's Marjorie's Hope, and it's MARJORIES, Hope. Marjorie's Hope, and so you can private message us on there. Clothing, honestly, right now we're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very blessed when it comes to that. We have a higher standard of clothing as well that we accept on that. But now we used to open as a pop-up 3 or 4 times a year, but we've been so blessed. Now we have a we call it sidewalk shop, and they just come out on once a month because it's to help us get rid of inventory as well, because we hate to say no. But right now we're good for that. School supplies for our teachers' store.
Yes.
Again, through our messenger, through Facebook, we would love for that. One of the things we're definitely trying to do is connect the corridor between east and west, and that's our biggest challenge right now, is because I know we have over 5,100 educators, and this will include non-instructional educators, and I don't have those numbers. That's a lot of people from east and west. So rather than the west side supporting everything on the east side, I'm trying to collaborate both sides coming together, and then, for lack of better words, paying for each side, so to speak, but just to support it. And so we are looking for local businesses to come in as well, support it. In return, we can put a banner, a poster up, so we want our teachers to know who's supporting them in the community as well.
Nice.
And are you looking eventually, I know you probably are because I know the way you work, but are you looking eventually to be able to put something closer to the east side or more central in the county?
Yes, absolutely. So I think this needs at least a 1 to 2 year window, okay, to get it up off the ground. Let's see how it's going to be used, how much it's going to be used, and how well it's going to flow. And then by all means, if that's the case, then, you know, connect to somebody on the east side for donated space, and then they can do, we can open that. I'm not too worried about the operations, because part of the program is the teachers will sustain it. They're going to volunteer for their own store, and then our commitment is to help find business funders and continue to support it, supply it, and then the teachers operate it.
But at this point, it's open, like you said, to all educators and non-educators in the county. So if somebody wants to take a cruise over from Dade City, they're more than welcome to do that.
Exactly, and part of the what we've asked as part of the program is that the store would be accessible either 1 or 2 early evenings, so they don't have to mad dash to get from the east side to the west, because it's you can't do that in rocket scientists anymore.
No.
Travels time, and then 1 to 2 weekends a month. So again, so east side can travel over and shop. And then ideally, if we could even coordinate where the school store and the boutique were open on the same weekend.
That would be awesome.
Okay, so then while they're over here on the west side, they can shop for themselves and shop for their classroom.
Another fundraiser,
Excellent.
helicopter rides.
Yeah. What? Anything's possible.
Helicopter rides to get from the east over to the west and not have to go through Suncoast and Center County.
There you go.
Yeah,
Head that one up.
Yeah, yeah.
That's for you.
You want to go slower, a hot air balloon.
Oh, there you go.
Well, this is really great. I
Thank
just
you,
love
guys.
hearing about this. Thank you so much for coming on My Chamber TV.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you for inviting us,
Well,
and we love being a part of the chamber as
We
well.
appreciate that, too.
You really should tell them about the special thing that we're going to be giving away for $100.
Oh my goodness.
Got to do
We've
it
done-
quick.
10
Got
seconds.
about 10
We have
seconds.
been gifted and donated with a
85.
1985 classic convertible
Corvette.
and we are going to raffle it off. $100 tickets, 400 tickets is all we're selling for it. Stay tuned, watch our Facebook page. We'll be advertising photo, flyers, everything for it.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Thank you, guys,
That
for
sounds
being
like
on.
fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. We got to go. We'll be right back. Hi, everyone. Welcome back into My Chamber TV. I'm Barbara Marville Kelly, and with me is Paul Friedlander from the Greater Pasco
Chamber of Commerce, and changing hats from being a co-host to being interviewed by the wonderful host, Ms. Barbara Marville Kelly. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention that the people that allow me to do this once a month are Total Title Solutions, part of the Fan Agency Network, and I appreciate you all allowing me to do this and spend my time in the community. So
You know,
I
I
had to
gotta
reach out to them.
I got to thank you for all of this, because you were with doing a lot with the chamber for how many years?
I was with the chamber as their membership development director for 3.5 years.
Right.
But you and I, remember, we started this back in when we were sitting on the bayou in Tarpon Springs in the basement. I was running, I believe, for honorary governor at that time.
That's right.
Who'd have thunk we'd have still been here today.
I tell you, and even though you have this job with Total Title Solutions,
Yep.
which I know you're probably busting numbers with the real estate market.
yes,
and
no.
oh wait, there's going to be so much more. They're all coming to Florida.
Yes, they are. They're all coming to Florida. And yes, there's been some challenges this past year, but as Dr. Fridley mentioned, it's all in how you handle it.
Yeah.
And I know sometimes it's easier said than done.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things, I was talking with somebody yesterday about tiny habits and using triggers. So, and it was such a funny story, but it was a true story. The guy that wrote the book, Tiny Habits, talks about, I guess I can say this on TV, but like when he goes to the bathroom, when he goes to take a leak, for lack of a better way to put it, when he's done, he does 2 push-ups. So he uses that as a trigger to start to get better at working out. Now,
well, that's interesting.
But it's little, and that's what Spencer was talking about, was just little triggers to do certain things when you want to get back into a habit. Now, the trigger for my diet was I just needed to lose weight. And great story is because somebody said to me one day, "You look like you've lost weight, or is it the Zoom?" And I said, well, it's actually both. I have lost weight, and it was the Zoom because I got tired of looking at my fat face looking back at me. So in answer to your question, yes, I have lost weight, and it was because of Zoom.
That'll do it, right?
That'll do it. But it's, you're right. It's about the little tiny habits. It's about being consistent. Like, we've done this show for 8 years. We've maybe missed 5 or 6 months during that time, and it usually falls around the holidays. But it's about being consistent.
Being consistent.
But doing the little things. You don't just all of a sudden say, hey, I'm changing my whole life. I'm losing weight. I'm going to work. I'm going to run 18 miles, and things like that. You just do it a little at a time.
Set those small little goals, right? We're
so
still in the beginning of the year. We have a lot of months left.
And I didn't mean to digress, but
no, I like hearing that.
It's always so much fun hanging out with you and be able to talk sort of philosophy. And yes, we're here today representing the Greater Pasco Chamber of Commerce, but that's also something that's allowed us to grow. And we actually had a live event yesterday, sponsored by the ambassadors. It was at the Spartan Manor, so there was plenty of social distancing. We had a great turnout because people are looking to get back out there. And it's a new book that's getting ready to come out called The Top 25 Changemakers. And these are people that are local.
Really?
One of them, a gentleman by the name of Cameron Wimberly, who's an ex-NFL football player. There's been 25 contributors to this book, and like 5 or 6 of them, 7 of them were there yesterday to speak.
Nice.
And just for like 5 or 10 minutes, but it's what they did in what's going on right now to change what they had to do to move forward. One of the girls yesterday was an accountant, and she spent a lot of time studying, fine-tuned her own accounting business, got better at what she did, but in the meantime started looking at some of her clients that came in that had large portfolios because they were involved in the stock market or in day trade or in trading. And so she made herself an expert in that while she had the time to do it. So she's got a whole nother leverage in her life. And so it's just, it's neat to see, I always say, Barb knows I hate the word problem, so I'll say situation or challenge.
We do too.
And so, but it's neat, you can concentrate on the situation / challenge and become an expert in that, or you can concentrate on the solution and become an expert in that, but you can't do both.
That's right.
You can't do both. And that's what to me, that's what this show's about. We have a wonderful community with tons of giving people. And we're here.
Absolutely.
We're concerned about the people out there that may not be faring so well. And a lot of times it's just a mental thing. When I decided to go on this diet, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't out of the ordinary, but you also have to be it's one thing to have the diet, but you got to be mentally ready to do it.
You are so correct about that. And, my husband has, he's been going, he's like an exercise buff.
Yep.
Day in, day out, and no more gym for the longest time. Do you think he stopped exercising? You know, Kelly.
No.
No way. We've got the rebounder right in the family room. Every single day, he times it. He walks in place and back and forth and does all of his exercises right there.
Well, it's the little things, like you said.
Yeah.
I know when, the one thing I need to do now is I need to tone. Well, your tone comes from your core. And there was yesterday we had an interesting discussion where there was a big, huge football player and a guy that was like half his size and real skinny, and he told the big, huge football player to come at him, and he did. He hit him as hard as he could, and he barely moved. But the other guy, when he went after the football player, he knocked him like 10 feet back because of the core.
That's right.
Because of the core. And I know one of the things you do is planking, and I'm talking with somebody
Oh, my
one day,
goodness.
and they said,
Ooh.
all you do is put your phone down in front of you with the timer on, and if you can do it for 4 seconds the first time, do it. And at 4 seconds, but just little increments.
Tiny bits.
Till you can get it up to 2 minutes or 3
Sure.
minutes. The guy I was talking to yesterday can do it for like 8 minutes.
That's
a long time to plank.
That is a long time.
That's a long time, but he didn't just do it overnight. It wasn't like he got there and he planked for 8 minutes. So you start somewhere. But and I apologize, guys, but getting back, we had this in-person event, was wonderful. Our young professionals at the chamber have just had a big revival. We got some really
that's
sharp.
So good to
and that's
know.
21 to 40-year-olds for anybody who wants to know what a young professional are. So Barb and I just missed the cut on it, but we're getting there. We're
sure.
getting there. And so as we go backwards after each birthday, we'll eventually be able to join the young professionals. But I was just talking to John before we came on. They do a second Wednesday of every month, or no, first Wednesday of every month. They do a lunch and learn. Third Wednesday of every month, they're doing a social. And then quarterly, they're going to have some kind of a major get-together and presentation, sort of like the ambassadors did yesterday.
I love that group.
It's such a strong revival. And we had that young man on the cowboy.
Oh, with the cowboy hat?
Can't think of his first name now, but the one that's at the air park.
He was precious. I loved what he said.
He's one, and then Josh Davidson, who a lot of us know, who's with not Spectrum anymore. It's I think of the company, but Josh. Those are the guys that have started. They're excited, and they're kicking it right back up. So for some extent, things are getting back to normal. We still have our brochure exchanges. The longest standing brochure exchange has been Eric Anderson's with Synergy at Specialties. That's always the third Thursday of the month. He was doing Seven Springs, and eventually we'll get back there. That's still done. That's still done as a Zoom meeting, but the one out in Land O'Lakes on the second Thursday of every month is done at Hungry Harry's at Lake House. So it's weather permitting. It's all outside. It's all social distance, and
so
they've been
glad
getting
to hear
big
that.
crowds because people are really
Ready.
anxious to get back out.
Know.
So you have and then the ambassadors are. We've had all types of different things that people didn't think you could do virtually, but you know what? If you concentrate on the solution, you can figure it out.
Always. There's always a solution.
You can figure it out. And so what Barb and I want to get across to y'all is, it is a wonderful chamber. I'm actually July 1st. Hopefully Pam's not listening to this. I'm going to be the new chairman of the board for the chamber.
Oh, jeez. Paul, you're too much.
She asked me the other day, because I'm chairman now for the Pasco Kids First.
Right.
And Pam says, well, are you chairman for the chamber? I said, no. Which I didn't lie, I'm not, but I will be in July. So as long as Pam's not listening to this, I'm okay. If you don't see me next month, you'll know she listened to this, and that's why you don't see me.
You got in big trouble.
But
she'll help you with that core.
God bless her for putting up with somebody that doesn't know how to say no. But that's starting to come together. It's been a little bit of it's been an interesting journey, bringing the Central and the West together, and remembering that everybody is all there together now. And anything new like that takes some time to get everybody
absolutely.
back mindset right and stuff like that. To remember that it's the Greater Pasco Chamber, and we do have a western area to our district, and we do have an eastern, because we all know that Pasco is wide.
Oh, it is wide. Very wide.
Pinellas is long. Pasco is wide.
Absolutely.
And so you have to remember that, as we just talked about with Debi, about how do we get the teachers from the east side involved. It's not that easy. From Dade City, it's an hour trip over here.
Yeah.
And yet you're still in the same county.
I know.
Welcome to Florida, and everybody else that's coming down here. But yeah, things have been great at the chamber. Things are going really well.
I love to hear
that. What's nice is it's nice to see people starting to get back out a little bit, still being very careful about what they do.
Sure.
Rotary, we did an in-person president-elect training session out at the Wesley Chapel, the Hyatt Place out there. And again, social distanced, masks, hand sanitizers. It's just a matter of being smart and still living a little bit, because Dr. Fridley talked about stress.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if you're that stressed, there's a really good chance, whether it's the current situation with COVID or something else, if you're that stressed, you're going to end up getting sick. You're going to get sick.
Absolutely, and stress
you're going to get sick. And because you guys are doing a show now, right? You and Dennis did.
Well, we do that on Mondays,
right?
At 2:00, and we always talk about stress and how to reduce it, and that's our passion.
Yeah.
And we know that stress is the #1 cause for dis-ease and in many times premature death.
Yeah.
And with Dr. Fridley, we were talking about how it's really hitting the teenagers more than ever before, and that just saddens me to hear that.
Well, and part of it is that a lot of them didn't come out of their house before this. Now you're giving them an excuse to stay in the house even more, unfortunately.
I know.
We're not that old, but we have a 37, 34, and our kids played outside.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, mine never even
till
had
the street lights were on.
They had some old Nintendo video game that we got secondhand from somebody, so they never really had the video games that the kids have today.
No, mine didn't either.
I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if I'd be any better if I had the video games that we have today.
I tell you.
It's a shame. But the other thing too, Barb, I don't want to be remiss. If it wasn't for the guys here, for John, Tampa Bay Multimedia, WeBeam TV, My Chamber TV, we wouldn't have this platform.
I know we wouldn't.
And thank you.
It is a blessing. It's really a blessing, because this way we can bring the community to you with the chamber. And there's, I've lost track of how many shows that Tampa Bay Media, Multimedia does right here on WeBeam TV. So if you have a business or if you want to get involved, feel free to get a hold of us here, because we can hook you up with the right people with many, many years of experience. Everything's professionally done here, and we love talking about it.
He's got opportunities for Focus on Business, where you can come in and do 3 or 4 segments on the business that you have and get it out there. People are watching. Obviously, social media is sort of the new TV to some extent in terms of getting your word out.
Well, it's all about video. We have people that say to us, "Oh, the newest thing is video." No. It's been around a long, long time, and it's a way definitely to get your business out, because you get a chance to meet and greet people, and it helps save you time, and time is our most valuable commodity. And with that, we got to say goodbye.
We do, and just remember, WeBeamTV.com, and reach out to John and his crew here and come build your business.
That's right.
Greater
and thank you, my
Pasco
friend.
Chamber of Commerce, signing off.
Signing off. See you again.